Chapters 3. Morpheus Entertainment.
Hello you guys, Morpheus here with the part 3 of the Warlock Demonology PvP guide for 5.4.7. This is about talents and glyphs, and I waited for with this one a little bit longer because I'm the only one on YouTube teaching you how to play Demo. And I know that some of you might take this with a grain of salt what I'm teaching you, but some will not and will see this as a holy truth. So in that case I need to be sure what I say is true, and I must not sell bullshit, so to say. So I did some more tests and stuff to make sure that whatever I'm saying is correct. And it's not an easy episode, that's why I'm in Photoshop and I can draw shit, because it's gonna be a different kind of guide, because it's quite complex. Some classes have a really easy time to get to 2k. With Demonology you can change between a lot of different talents, and or I don't know, maybe not really, I don't know, I'm gonna explain. But you have to play really good to get there. Anyways, my favorite spec is kind of simple, and I'm gonna keep it short, is Dark Regeneration. Let's just put it here for now. Dark Regeneration because it's an awesome heal. Mortal Coil because it doesn't DR with anything else except the Psychic Scream from a Priest. Dark Bargain is a really safe choice to pick because you're basically immortal for 8 seconds, and this gives your hero time to get out of CC and heal you up. And when it comes to Sacrificial Pact or Soul Link, well, Sacrificial Pact can be destroyed quite easily depending on what patch you use. I will come back to that later. And Soul Link is a really good one, but you need to combine it with different glyphs. If you don't combine it with different glyphs, 20% damage reduction is not enough when your healer is CC'd and you're kind of bursted on. It's risky to use it. You need to trinket, or your healer might need to use some cooldowns, and this is just a safe pick, I would say. But these two are also possible, but I will explain it later. So now Unbound Will is my favorite choice, because if you really need to get out of CC, for example you're like full feared and you're burst, can't get out of it, and your healer can't dispel you, you have to Unbound Will. Against Affliction Locks it's risky, because this will count as a dispel, not as a trinket. So if you use this against an Affliction Lock and he has Unstable Affliction on you, you will dispel yourself, get a silence, and get one shot basically. So don't really use this if you have just don't use it actually if you have Unstable Affliction on you. For the Grimoires I pick Grimoire of Service. It's the best burst and it gives 2 CCs, or at least 2 demons, and 2 CCs depending on what patch you use. I normally use double stun, double Felguard, or 1 Felguard, 1 Fel Hunter, or 1 Felguard and 1 Imp. Imp is probably only viable if you use the glyph Demon Training, but I will come back to that later. I never use Grimoire of Sacrifice, the damage is not as good anymore. Grimoire of Supremacy is still an option, but I will come back to that later. Okay, then the last talents, then this is my pick, because you can burst twice, and if you combine that with your proc trinket and your trinket every 1 minute that you can use whenever you want to, you know, I mean use on demand, you can burst pretty nicely every minute or so, at least twice every 2 minutes. And if you take, for example, one of these two, then you can't, and that's horrible. Then you just are sitting duck for 2 minutes. This one might be possible in BGs, but not in Arena, and this one is just completely useless in my opinion for Demolocks. So now let's take another color, because we're really funny. Let's take orange. No, let's take yellow actually. And let's go to my secondary choices, which is, well, in the top kit, let's go to the top case. I never use these. I never do. You can just forget about it in Arena. Maybe this is some option, but I never use it, so let's keep it out for now. I will come back to this later though. My second pick for CC on the second row is Shadow Fury. Why? Because it might be nice if you are not using double stun or 1 stun, but you're using non-stun, no stun at all. For example, you use 2 Fel Hunters with double silence. Then you need kind of a stun, or it's nice to have a stun. It's also an AoE stun, and on a shorter cooldown than this guy here, So yeah, then I would say Shadow Fury is really nice. But this heals you, Mortal Coil heals you, and you know it doesn't DR with a lot. So this is my first pick, then Shadow Fury. Just saying, you know, this is an alternative thing because you can stun all 3 people with it instead of just one guy. Okay, my second choice here is Soul Link. Why? Because if you combine Soul Link, and I will come back to this later again, but if you combine Soul Link with Glyph of Eternal or an Ending Resolve, I think an Ending Resolve, that's what I mean, then you get a 10% damage reduction all the time instead of 40% damage reduction every 3 minutes or something for 10 seconds. And if you combine it with Soul Link, which is kind of 20% damage reduction, you spread the damage taken with your demon for 20%. So it's minus 30% all the time. And that makes you quite tanky, and then you might not need Dark Bargain because you're never super low all of a sudden, you know. Still, this is my first choice because I never get trained a lot. So when they go on me, it's normally in a switch. When they want to burst on me, then I need something to protect the burst on me, and then I might use Dark Bargain. But if you're in a comp where you're trained a lot, for example, I play with a mage, so they normally go on the mage always. If you don't play with the mage and you're always the target, then playing with Soul Link in combination with Eternal Resolve and maybe even Demon Hunting Glyphs, which gives you your tank form Dark Hypothesis, then you have a 50% damage reduction all the time, and that's just really nice for when you're bursted on. This is only possible Sacrificial Pact in combination with Grimoire Supremacy in my opinion, and also in combination with Demon Training, but I will come back to that later. Now for this one, only Blood Horror. This one is absolutely horrible, so I wouldn't use it. But Blood Horror is definitely nice. For example, if you're facing Melee Cleave, DK Warrior, it could be nice to get them off you if you're being trained. But again, I'm not often trained and I want to get out of CC sometimes, so this still remains my first choice. For example, if you get a Warrior Fear, which is not really dispellable on you, then you just want to get out of it, and you know, use Unbound Will to burst more, you know, or you're in your burst, you need to do it. And Blood Horror DRs with Mortal Coil, which is also my first pick, so that's why I don't really pick the two together that much. I would say pick this one and then Shadow Fury. Sorry for the Windows sound, hope you're not deaf now. But yeah, I would say these two in combination and not Mortal Coil. Anyways, Grimoire of Supremacy can be an option. Not Grimoire Sacrifice is absolutely horrible. It's really, I mean, I guess. But Supremacy is an option. Why? Because I play with the mage, and the mage has a lot of stuns and a silence already. So all my pets are kind of DRing with him. You can use your imps, of course, which is really nice. But I like to stun, you know, so I want to keep one stun at least. But the thing is, with here, you can keep your stun, you can keep Guard, which is the upgraded version of Felguard with this one. And then you can take Demon Training Glyph, which increases its HP by 20%. And if you combine it with this one, then this one suddenly becomes viable. Why? Because this creates a shield. The amount of HP of the pet will be your shield, so if you have a very strong pet with extra HP, it'll probably be like a 500k shield, you know, which is a lot. So then it becomes viable. So I would say let's do like a darker yellow. Looks really really like ugly, but let's say that this might be an option. Okay. And then for the last one, nah, I'm not gonna say that. There's just nothing you can use in arena for these two. Well, this might be an option, but it's not really my second choice. It's no choice at all. I would still go for Archimos Darkness. So let's look and take a different color now. I'm gonna take light blue, and let's go for BGs and RBGs even. I would still go for Darker Generation, so let's put a thing here for the Darker Generation. I would go for this one probably, because she can stun a lot of people at the same time, which is just wonderful. I would go for this definitely, because if you're being switched on in a BG or RBG, there are 9 people bursting on you or doing damage on you, and then these two, I don't know, don't really feel like they're gonna save your day, you know, and this one is gonna save your day. So this one. My will still in RBG. This one, you know, it's nice for when you need to cap the flag, but it just does so much damage to you. So I don't really think it's viable. I would still go for this if you really want to get out of CC, then use that. Bolter, maybe. But I don't know. Grimoire of Sacrifice, never, I don't know. It was my choice always, and now I hate it. Another reason why is because this provides the most Fury generation in your burst than this one, and then this provides no extra Fury generation. Why? Because this one allows you to have 2 pets, and the pets generate Demonic Fury, and this one don't. At least not in burst, because you need to sacrifice it in burst. The only pro for this one is that you can have 3 CCs. You can have a silence and then sacrifice your pet. You have another silence and then summon back a Felguard with Demonic Rebirth, and then you have another stun, so you have 3 CCs. But that's really complicated and takes a lot of time to do and stuff, and in the meanwhile you could have just spammed Touch of Chaos, which does a lot of damage, so I would still say Grimoire of Service always. So also for BGs. Although this might also be an option, because having a strong pet in a BG and also for flag base defending, I mean, this one might be really nice. I would say these two. Actually, let's put it like one of these two, you know. Then Archmoon's Darkness, also definitely, but this one is also an option. Why? Because if you use this in combination with Immolation Aura in Metamorphosis, you have a lot of AoE damage. So I would say Manner of Fury, don't forget it. It's still nice in BGs. For RBGs I would still use this one because it's a more smarter spec. This is just more fun. But even in RBGs it might be valuable. It's just depending on how the group likes to play. If they need you for one shot and also some AoE damage, then maybe this one. If they need you more for a little bit more sustained damage or more frequent bursts, then I would say this one, definitely. Then we come to something really... Well, I'm taking pink, and that's why I'm saying gay. It's not that I want to offend any gay people now, but this is gonna be the gay spec. So sorry if you're gay, but I just call it the gay spec. That's using this one, and in combination with the Glyph of Drain Life. The reason why I think it's pretty gay is because you do less damage, you just have more survivability. I never use this in arena. I never used it in a BG. I actually used it some time ago, like a long time ago, in duels. But it's still really gay. But I see people use it in duels because you have a lot of sustain healing. And you know, against a Boomkin in a duel or something, or a Destrolock, you kind of need it, I think, because they can out heal you otherwise. For example, with Embers or Rejuvenation, you know, whatever. So then you kind of need it to, you know, keep alive and do more damage. But I think it's really not really useful. Then in dueling, I would say Sacrificial Pact. Why? Because this is 3 minutes. You like a duel is normally shorter than 3 minutes. But this one, only every 1 minute. You have a big chance of doing this twice in a duel, and you only probably do this once in a duel, unless it's really long. So I would say this one because you can do it more frequently, especially versus a mage who can burst like every minute or something. And it's nice to have this. And if you combine it with this again, it's, you know, it does nice damage. And this is actually not the gay spec, it's just the dueling spec who happens to be gay. I mean, pink. Oh, by the way, this is horrible. Never used Demonic Breath. I don't know, I think it's really, really stupid. But whatever. And this one, I don't know. Maybe some of you have experience with Soul Leech. I hate it. Then for duels, this one also. Grimoire of Service for duels. definitely, you know, no choice there, because 2 CCs in a duel instead of just 1 is just very, very nice and annoying. And then this one definitely for dueling. This one is just horrible for dueling. I would also say definitely this one. So that's about it for the talents. So if we want to recap really fast, I'm gonna make the, well, I'm just gonna say my main build is this one, this one, this one, and this one, this one, and this one. So that's the main build that I normally always uses, and sometimes I switch to Soul Link plus the Glyph for 10% damage reduction all the time. And that's probably my most switched talent, like these two, this row. And otherwise I kind of keep the same always. So just so you know. So about the Glyphs real quick, I would say this one is fixed. Imp Swarm, something you always need. It provides a lot of demonic fury generation in your burst. You can't really go without it, in my opinion. It does also nice damage, although the damage is nerfed. This one is also kind of fixed. Healthstone. Why? Because it increases your healing by 100%, which is a lot. And combine that with Dark Regeneration. If you combine it with that, it's really, really nice. The healing is really great, and yeah, I would just keep it there. I think this one probably the most switchable, or the one you can change the most. So yeah, let's go back. So this one is my main kind of, let's do it here. My main build is this one. And if we go to yellow again to make it more clear, the one that I switch out sometimes is probably this one. Why? Well, this one, you know, it's really nice for the extra HP from the Guard and the Felguard. Your pet will die less fast. Your Imp's firebolts will fire faster and stuff. That's really nice. But this one is also nice because you have 10% damage reduction all the time, instead of on-use ability every 3 minutes that reduces your damage taken by 40%. They're both good. The on-use one and this one, they're both good. If you combine this, as being told before, with Soul Link, then you have 30% damage reduction all the time, and that's really, really good. And then you don't need Dark Bargain per se if you play it really, really good. If you have a good healer, depending on what healer also, some healers are better at sustain healing, other ones are better at burst healing with cooldowns and stuff. But depending on what you're playing, you can go Soul Link in this one, or just Dark Bargain. And this is your tank glyph. What I probably should do is, if you only want to switch to this one, I will put it here and keep the Healthstone. If you're like, okay, I don't want a Healthstone, instead I want to have tank form, I would just put it in here, but just keep Imp Swarm. Just keep that always. But this is 1, this is 2, and you kind of want to keep this one, but if you really want to go tank form, then just have these two with Soul Link. Then I would say get rid of Healthstone. But normally I go with Healthstone, Imp Swarm, and Demon Training. Those are just really, really nice and a really solid build for that. So yeah, that's kind of it, I think, about the glyphs. It's really simple. These are really all the glyphs I use. I don't use anything else. Of course, you know, the minor glyphs, Nightmares is really a must-have. This one is not a must-have, and this one is also not a must-have. Of course not. I think only this one is a must-have in BGs. It allows you to walk over water with your mount that the Warlock gets. And other than that, I think these are all the major glyphs I use. I think they're the best for Demonology, just so you know. So you only need to get 5 glyphs and switch them out sometimes whenever you feel like it. Anyways, this was the guide. The next guide will be about gems, rotation, spell priority, and spell priority, yeah, instead of rotation, because it's not a rotation. And also about stat priority and stuff. So about all the other trivial or minor things. And then I will have another part after that, completely devoted to how to burst. And then after that will be more into depth stuff, I guess. But thank you for watching for now. See you guys next time. Morpheus out.